Hello everybody, my name is Matt Sohmer. For those who don't know who I am, I'm a world champion powerlifter and a former collegiate football player. Basically, this video is going to be about my relationship with the Usapl and why I am on their banned list. I want to start off by saying this, powerlifting for me is a hobby, and for 99.9% of us, it is a hobby. You know, unless you're super rich to begin with and you don't need to work for a living. This is a hobby. We do it, because it's fun, because we enjoy competing and stuff like that. I'm fortunate enough to have sponsors that take care of me, that pay for a lot of my expenses. But it's still, at the end of the day, it's not a career. It's not bringing in hundreds or tens of thousands of dollars for me to raise a family, to pay my bills with. So I think people need to keep that in mind when they compete. Have fun. Compete where you want. You shouldn't have, no one or not one federation or one person should dictate where you should compete. And as long as your lift's legitimate, you're not cheating anything, I don't care where you compete. I don't care if you compete IPF or SPF. As long as your lifts are legit and you're having fun doing it. Because at the end of the day, it's a hobby and you should have fun doing it. When I was younger, I competed in 7 different federations. I had fun. I did what I wanted, competed where I wanted to. I didn't have anyone telling me I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. I got to compete with a lot of my friends from college, people I've met online. It was a lot of fun. And then when I, probably 1 or 2 years into powerlifting, I was told that I'm not a real champion unless I compete with the USAPL. So I drank the Kool-Aid, I fell for it. I competed solely with the USAPL for 6 years. And it really didn't help me as an athlete. It's really no different than any other federation. The only difference is there's more politics in the USAPL. So it really wasn't worth just competing with them solely for 6 years. But one thing I have found out is that they get very spiteful and they get weird when you compete in multiple federations. I've seen them go after lifters that compete in other federations. And I'm not saying all of them do. A lot of them do though. But that's where the problems with me and the USAPL kind of stemmed from. My relationship with them has been rocky. The first example was when I was selected, when I won U.S. Raw Nationals. I've always been outspoken about how they treated athletes and how they just basically, athletes are a piggy bank for them. But it all started when, I think it was after I won, for those that don't know, I won Raw Nationals in 2018, and I won the 120 weight class, then I got, selected to go to Worlds. So previously I had a World Team jacket when I was a junior, so I competed on the junior team. But I was a lot fatter back then, and the jacket I wore just looked sloppy on me. So I remember years and years ago when I first competed with the USAPL, I bought like a rain jacket. And I was going through my closet, and I had found it. Totally forgot I had it. And it still fit really well. It looked actually nicer than the team jackets. So what I did was I went to my screen printer, and I put World Team on the back with the USAPL logo. And keep in mind that this item I had bought from the USAPL website, and it was a licensed USAPL merchandise. So, you win Worlds, you get excited and stuff like that. And I posted on Instagram saying, looking forward to going to Sweden, whatever. And they had the audacity to send me a legal letter threatening to sue me because I didn't buy their official team jacket. So that was a little annoying because at the end of the day, I'm not selling it. I got it to support you. I got it to support the team at international competition. It was for myself only. And I basically got it made on a jacket I had already bought from you. It wasn't like I bought a jacket off, eBay and decided to make it myself with the logo. So that kind of like pissed me off thing. The other issue was filling out the ALF forms. Now, again, at the end of the day, I really didn't mind filling it out because I'm a creature of habit. I was doing the same things over and over again. I worked at the same place. I worked out at the same time. So it really wasn't a big deal for me. But I was originally going to compete at the Arnold that year. But I got hurt, had an injury or whatever it was. I honestly don't even remember. I changed the form from the Arnold to IPF Worlds. And they messaged me back saying, oh, I can't do that. They're going to fine me because I can't use the same forms. So I was like, this is getting a little ridiculous. And then after that, my girlfriend at the time was going to school in Tampa, and I would go visit her from time to time. And they gave me a hard time because I didn't put that on my athlete locator form. And this is what started really pissing me off, because it's like, at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a hobby. I'm not going to dictate my whole life to you, especially when I'm paying you. I'm not dictating my life to you. If I want to go on a sporadic vacation with my girlfriend or my family, I shouldn't have to dictate that to you, because it's a hobby. It'd be different if I was competing for Team USA, for the U.S. weightlifting team, and I was getting paid tons and tons of money to do this. Then I'd be like, all right, I bite the bullet and just do it. But at the end of the day, I'm paying you. I shouldn't have to be stressed out that when I go on vacation, I don't have to worry about these people, harassing me. So after that, they give me a hard time saying I'm going to pay all these fines and stuff, which was ridiculous. And it was probably around, I want to say, March or April of 2019. And they showed up at my job to drug test me, which, again, I have no problem with. But they had shown up on a day I had left early. Because I always, for those who don't know, I train elite level athletes, college athletes. I prepare them from either high school to college, or college to pro or semi-pro. So I did train a lot of athletes. But as a trainer, if you don't have athletes, you don't get paid. So I had left early that day, probably 2 hours early. I was done with my clientele. For those who don't know the New York area, I used to work in Setauket, which is eastern Suffolk County. I live on the border of Nassau and Suffolk, which is literally 35, 40 miles away from where I worked. So they messaged me, they say, hey, listen, Matt, we're here to drug test you. I'm like, well, I'm not at work anymore. I had left early for the day. And they started giving me a hard time, and they said, well, you have an hour to come back. And don't forget, this is a Friday or Thursday during peak rush hour. And they're like, well, you have an hour to get back. And I said, not for nothing, guys, but one, I'm not driving back. And two, it's going to take me about 2.5 hours to drive 40 miles to rush hour traffic to reach you guys. I said, I'm more than happy to take the drug test tomorrow. I'm more than happy to take it another time. Because, let's be honest, if you're on drugs, whether you take it Monday or Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, it's not going to make a difference. Anything you take, it's going to be in your system. So that's why it kind of pissed me off a little bit. They weren't accommodating whatsoever. So that was a major issue. And then the team rep reached out to me saying that, oh, I'm not going to be on the world team anymore. And at this point, I really didn't care, because at this point I wasn't going to Worlds anyway, because I had a job opportunity that I wasn't passing up for a hobby, because obviously the job opportunity is a lot more important than competing at Worlds. So I really wasn't worried that they were going to not select me for the world team. So after that, they gave me a 4-year ban for refusing to take the drug test. I didn't refuse it. I was more than open to taking it the next day or the following week, whatever was easy for them. But again, it shows you that the USAPL does what they want. Under IPF and WADA guidelines, you're allowed 3 missed tests before you get banned. So the USAPL just makes up their own rules. And that was my major issue with them. I reported them to the IPF. I reported them to WADA. I basically told them that they're not following guidelines. They're basically doing what they want when they come to drug testing. And for those that don't know, when it comes to doping agents or out-of-meat testing, the drug testing is supposed to come to you. I can't tell you how many times I've been drug tested out of meat from the USAPL and had to drive to the place getting drug tested. And you're not really supposed to do that. The drug people are supposed to come to you. So that's what kind of pissed me off, because 9 times out of 10, I'm driving to them. So the one time they drive to me and I'm not available, they're going to give me a hard time. So they banned me for 4 years. They want me to pay all these fines, which I'm never going to. And I said, you know what? Why am I going to lift a federation that does this type of crap? I can compete in USPA. I can compete in other federations that actually give back to the lifters, and not have to deal with all the drama and the politics that go along with it. And one thing I did realize about the USAPL is that they don't care about you as a lifter. They just see you as a source of income. They're a non-profit organization that rakes in millions of dollars, but yet somehow has no money to give back to athletes. They're a very spiteful organization. Again, it's powerlifting. It's a hobby. This is not a multi-billion-dollar sport. And to have this much politics in a sport that really means nothing in the scope of the sports world, it's mind-boggling. And that's why I left, and that's why I'll never go back. I have been talking to other places to compete. If I still wanted to compete IPF, I might do that in the future against the USAPL. So I might compete for other countries. and stuff like that, which I've been, approached by. So I'll deal with that when the time comes. But at the end of the day, I want to do what I want. I want to compete where I want to. I gotta say, competing in the USPA, I've had a lot of fun. I've made money competing in the USPA. If they've given you more opportunities to win cash, to have more fun. And I gotta say, with the USAPL, my only competition in the USAPL was Dennis Cornelius. Other than Dennis, I had no international competition. I had no American competition. Even on an off day, I would beat everybody. I want to be at a competition where even on my best day, I could still lose. So it pushes you a little bit more. And that's why I like competing with Dennis. I like competing with my friend Kevin Oak, a bunch of other guys, because it pushes you more. Because you know that if you have a shitty day, you're going to get killed. Or even if you have a really good day, you're still going to lose. Or you might lose. So I definitely like that aspect of it. And listen, I don't care who does what or who's on what or who takes this. I want to have fun. I want to compete with whoever I want. I don't want to have to compete in this federation. Like I competed, it was in February. This is before all the drug testing shit and all the bullshit with the USAPL started. So after I won nationals, I did a USPA meet, USPA meet in Yorktown Heights, which is about 40 minutes from me. Why wouldn't I do it? It's close. My friends get to see me lift. My family get to see me lift. My girlfriend got to see me lift. So I did it. And the USAPL coaches gave me a hard time that I was competing with the USPA. So it's like, it was stuff like that. Like, why should people give me a hard time about competing somewhere when, again, I'm doing it because it's a hobby for me? So these are all things you have to take into consideration when you compete in a federation. Competing with the USAPL was like competing for an evil cult. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And that's why a lot of people have left the USAPL to go with the USPA or other federations. It's like a cult. And I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. And I will never, ever be a part of it ever again. And unless there's a structure change and the people that run it are gone, because they have to go. They're bad for the sport. They're bad for the organization. Once they go, maybe I'll come back. But as of right now, I have no desire or want to compete with the USAPL ever again. I will compete IPF again. I definitely will. But as of right now, I'm going to compete where I want and have fun. Make money. Lift as much as I can. Move up the rankings and be the best that I can be. If you have any questions, you can contact me. You can find these shirts. I'm coming out with new shirts. MattSohmer.com. You can get training shirts. But if you have any other questions, just hit me up. Thanks.